If you have an idea, there's a reason that was the first thing that came into your head because that's your instinct.
The message that I would like to give your people: don't be a robot doing it.
This kind of engineering migration project takes at least 4 to 5 months. These guys got it done in 2 weeks. What are some of the mistakes you made when you first started doing cold outreach?
I think the biggest mistake you can make is just not trying what.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SalesRobot Customer of the Week, a new show where we invite the best SalesRobot users and go deep into their campaigns. We study deep tactics like personalization, relevance, and the messaging that they're using to get such success so that you can take away some tips to implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today, we have on the show Marcus Cook. Welcome to the show, Marcus.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, well, so let's get right into it. What does your business do and how do you make money?
Yeah, so we're in the oil and gas industry. This Ray owns several companies. The company that I primarily focus on is called Prime Inspections. We do NDT with all methods, radiography, ultrasonics, that kind of thing. I've been in the pipeline oil and gas industry for about 30 years. And so I kind of came over here and that's kind of helped get sales and just make a lot of things happen.
Awesome. So for the people who are not familiar with this industry, what does NDT stand for?
Non-destructive testing. So like if, say there's a weld, we would go in and use X-ray, radiographic testing or ultrasonics and test to make sure the quality of the weld is what's per standard for whatever code of, that they work in.
Awesome. So let's get into the actual campaign that got you on this show. Do you remember what that one was about? What was your strategy?
Yeah. So in my world, we deal with a lot of gas companies. We deal with a lot of just giant gas companies and giant contractors. And so whenever I'm going to attack into a area that I want to go, I will go in and start looking and scraping and looking. Using Sales Navigator, just to find the right guy, looking. And so my brother owns a marketing company called Oxy Creative. So Oxy is my brother's company. So I was asking him, hey, this campaign, what do I do? What he said, well, you're going to, he rattled off a whole lot of stuff. The thing that he says, you're going to, just use SalesRobot and figure it out. That guy's great. He'll always, just text him if you got a problem or, email him. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that, but I'll give it a stab. So, downloaded your program, signed up for it. I got the free trial and, I get a lot, being a vice president and, I just know a lot of people. So I get a lot of people trying to get to me to get to another facet of the industry, just the same way I'm doing these guys that I'm trying to call. And so, I get a ton of LinkedIn scraped emails a day, right? That are going la-di-da-di-da-da, let me, and I'm like, no, delete. I'm not even answering that. But whenever I get one that I'm kind of like, is this dude really emailing? Because it looks a certain way. So I decided on this campaign that I wasn't going to do a chat GPT. I looked at all the, looked at how chat was saying to do it. I was like, I'm not doing that. So I did it in the chat, but I started the conversation with yo.
Yeah. Let me actually show people the message because I love it. So this is the campaign, right? You've got a 23% reply rate on it, which is really good, right? Average is about 15%. And this is the actual messaging, right? So so continue. Your first thing.
I can't really see it.
No worry. I think you're good. Just tell me what you were thinking when you were writing the message.
Yeah. So I just said, I'm gonna say, yo, I'm looking for work in your company. And, if you, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was like, hey, I'm looking for work in your company. If you've got any NDT requirements, hit me up. Hit me up is another one that I use that's different than corporate. I'd love to see how we can help. You can send me a bid. See, because, on your rating over here on response, right, it gives you, hey, you need to answer the question. And so, I kind of did this, give me a bid. Now we've gotten two bids, and then we actually got one job off of this campaign in San Antonio that was around, I want to say it was around $90,000 job that we picked up just because of this campaign. Now, the next thing I think, that my follow up email is even a bigger response to make people think this is not a robot doing this. This is something that's a little, this is somebody, right? And then a day later, I set it up to say, by the way, Baba, I've been in the industry for a long time. If you got a tough, whatever, I'm here, and here's my cell phone. Right. And so, everybody, you've noticed that I've got some responses all the way through. Yeah. If you go back to the campaign, look at the latest two that I ran. The middle one wasn't that great because that's a really hard company to get into. But the one above it, I didn't get a lot of response rates, but I got a lot of add-ons. 21 connections in a major. I mean, Nextera does nuclear reactors. I mean, that's a super high-end company that you can't break into that company. So, the next month or so, we're going to be really working on Nextera and start trying to utilize the contacts we have there to do it. But if you go to I'm managing my business partners. If you go to accounts, let's look at theirs. I use the same messaging in his that I used in mine, just a little bit different. And if you look at his, I mean, not his reply rate, but his acceptance rate is pretty decent, I thought. You know what I'm saying? If you look at his, and just open his questions, his messaging, and you're going to see basically, on the, it should have been right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Like ours. Yo works, bro. So, hey guys, quit trying to, and if yo isn't your term, or, find your term that makes it less like a robot. There's so many robots going around, and I think SalesRobot makes it to where you don't gotta be. Now if you want to be that guy, but you're gonna get deleted every time you do that to me. And I would say that most people watching this, session, if you're in that business and you get that, you're gonna delete it. So stop making it look so rigid and start making it even, here's the deal. I was going to run one a day, and I was even going to make a grammatical error on purpose just to, and correlate that with the yo, or with a, hey, what's up, that kind of deal. I did one early on, and it was, so I did a cold call campaign on email, and we used, I used the Back to the Future message there. So, hey, you remember Back to the Future? Because I'm 52, so obviously Back to the Future is important to me as a movie. But I said, hey, you remember whatever the old Biff gave the young Biff the almanac, and said, hey, bet on this. That's what I'm giving you with my company. Giving you that, I'm giving you the almanac because we can save you money, no doubt. And I got some responses on that. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if you have any more questions, but.
I love this. I'm just thinking through this. Now you're telling me all this. I think we'll change our tagline to SalesRobot, don't be a robot. I love that. Keep going. Yeah.
The thing is that, if you get into chat, and, most people if they're using SalesRobot, they're taking advantage of AI. So if you're using AI, tell it to not be so rigid, because you gotta kind of slap that thing sometimes and say, hey, dude, you're being dumb right now. I want you to be like a real person and give me some real language, and then, here's the deal. What, ask it. What are some opening terms that aren't associated with a corporate email strategy? And it's going to give you 20 of those words, and open it up like that, and be silly. I mean, yeah, the more you make it look like you are a person and you're not getting scraped for them just giving you a lead so you can sell that lead to somewhere else or give it to your sales team. I made a $90,000 sale off of this idea. You know what I'm saying? Off of me being just real. But I do, you see how many people we're scraping? We're scraping 200 or 300 names at a time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I think the thing that I would encourage everyone to be is exactly what you said. And if I can make a little revenue stream off that idea to you, I think we need to talk off some camera, because don't be a robot using SalesRobot. You know what I'm saying?
You should definitely get some royalty on that. No, I love it. And you've gotten that deal, and it's been only 2 months that you've been using this tool. So it's definitely more than paid for itself, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's a great tool. I think the thing you seem to know the LinkedIn back end pretty good. One thing I wish that we could do eventually is like, because I'm building my account up, right? And so I'm getting the leads and, getting the people on my account. If you're using this for a company or, just to get leads, the company kind of wants to build their platform. So figuring out a way where the invite to your company page can be automated in a scrape of some sort would be really cool. And I know that kind of takes the place of, LinkedIn's page strategy, but they let you do it. LinkedIn lets you do it for free by going and say, hey, invite my friend set, invite them to your page, but you can only do it you can only do, I can't remember how many a day, but it's just real cumbersome because you got to go through page by page by page by page, and you just get tired of it after you're like, well, I don't want, forget it. I'm gonna go get more friends. I'm gonna go get more LinkedIn accounts and try to nab that. But that'd be really something that if I could see SalesRobot, if I could tell I've been wanting to tell you that, like, hey, I think it can be figured out. You seem to be really smart, like coming up with updates. And I did get bumped off the other day, but I came right back. But because I remember the week that you put, hey, if you got to unlink today, but that's soft because my buddy was getting kicked off every 10 minutes. I was like, oh my god, who was this guy?
That was a nightmare. That was a nightmare month for me because we saw about 30% of our customers get hit with disconnections like every couple of hours. So we sat down, like it was a all hands on deck situation. We sat down with all of our engineers and said, okay, what are we going to do about it, right? And this kind of engineering migration project takes at least 4 to 5 months. These guys got it done in 2 weeks. You guys have to go through.
It was fast. Well, sir, I kind of titled myself as an EBA. I'm an elite badass as far as marketing, and I'm a self-proclaimed genius at figuring stuff out and making things work. And the deal of it is that I'm probably the most famous person no one's ever heard of. But if anybody ever needs any help, they're going to see who I am and whatnot. But I would be, if you ever need help with your team on, taking this thing to market a little bit better, I'm pretty good at making stuff happen. So, and I'm really impressed that I didn't cuss hardly at all, because I'm a big cusser. So like, oh god, gotta watch my language. All these, who knows who's watching? But you've got a great program. And I think the message that I would like to give your people: don't be a robot.
As simple as that. Okay, that brings me to my next question. What are some of the mistakes you made when you first started doing cold outreach?
I've been selling my whole career, 30 plus years. So if you can imagine a guy, I'm 52, so I'm probably a lot different than the type of audience that you probably deal with. You don't have any gray in your hair. So, but what I've seen transpire is the personalized touch from, having a yellow pages and flipping through a phone book. I know many people don't even know that it used to exist. And then, having the first time you had an AOL, come up and dial up, and then figuring out a modem and all the things, and then figuring out email, so I've seen the industry go from, me getting orders off a fax machine to now me getting orders off of a robot applied platform. So some of the things I've been super successful with creating my career. I'm a high school graduate. I didn't go to college. I've made 7 figures of my life doing things. And, if you look at the mistakes you make, it's probably, not taking chances earlier in your career, and waiting. If you look at the world that we live in, a lot of people that are probably watching this work from ad agencies, work for marketing, work in SEO, SEM. And, the thing about it is just, if someone tells me no, I don't accept that as an answer, because if you tell me no, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it. Like my brother, he actually said, hey, that ain't going to work. And I was like, Yes, it is. Do not tell me it's. And I sent him the. I sent him whatever you sent me the deal. Hey, Big McMean, you won a talk with me. I sent him the deal. I was like, dude, I'm like, here you are. You got $1 million business doing this. I'm doing this in an office on the side just to have my day go by a little quicker. And he's like, well, tell me your question. I sent it to him. He went, yo, really worked. I was like, oh yeah, that's the secret sauce, bro.
The numbers don't, the numbers that, the numbers.
Yeah. I think the biggest mistake you can make is just not trying what your first thought was. Because my first thought was, I just want to send this out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then my next thought was, oh, I'm gonna ask chat to look at every successful published campaign, and I'm gonna copy that campaign. Well, you know what? How many times are we scrolling today on LinkedIn? I mean, on Instagram and Facebook, and it's all these people going, day 49 of me trying to do this until I reach 1 million followers. Well, everybody's doing it. Okay. Well, if you follow that campaign, the first guy that did it, he's the reason why everybody's following him. So you be the first and do the first thing that comes to your mind, right?
No, I love, just totally love it. Don't second guess yourself, man. I mean, if you have an idea, there's a reason that was the first thing that came into your head, because that's your instinct. There's some truth to that. So follow that truth.
Yeah. A marketing person, I think, is, my dad was an art major and a teacher of art. Yeah. So I was around this real creative environment growing up. And so one thing about artistic people is, that's the marketing world. I know there's some developers. I know there's people that are engineers that make, the engine go, but there's also the people that are using the people that are using your thing are creating content so it's part of the creative gene. So in the creative gene, you've got to believe in yourself to a degree. And a lot of times I think a creative person or someone that's trying to get into that mode would they're just doing the mundane notion of putting in your steps, and they're not looking at your steps. I mean, the real important thing for me was to send something a day later. One day, not 2 days, not 3 days, one day, and make it look like it's a PS and put BTW, by the way, a BTW, oops, I forgot to give you my phone number. And then that makes that person go, that dude really wrote me yo, and now he's giving me his phone number. This is somebody that, and if you look at those responses, I've had people going, hey, I saved your number. If I get a bind, I'm going to help. I'll call you. So it's cool.
Absolutely love it. That brings me to my final question. What are some of the things you're excited about trying to improve your cold outreach process?
We're looking to, whenever you get 40 new invites, you've got to call them. Because, I think the mistake that I made was scraping too many in the pile. So going through there and really going, okay, I don't, and there's really no way. I wish there was a way that SalesRobot gave you the look of who you're like, hey, especially a title and a deal, because they may get swept up by just being a director of something, and then they're the director of finance. Well, I don't even talk to those guys, and they're getting my deal of, yo, I need a job. Like Brandon got one the other day. She says, hey, I'm the nuclear compliance manager for legal. I don't think you've got the right person. Which she really her sending that message meant that she thought that he really typed her the message.
Yeah.
And so my buddy came and he says, dude, you're sending yo to people. I'm like, yeah, dude, it works. Trust me. He's like, well, dude, this is a legal compliance manager for the nuclear strategy. I'm like, oh, well, sorry about that, But, so I wish that whenever it says fetched and how many you fetched, I wish we could click on that, show who we fetched, and then be able to deselect if we wanted, right? So back to your thing, I think the next thing that we're going to use, since this is kind of being successful, is we're going to take that, and then I'm going to have a little bit more data for you to, because here's the thing, you can say that I was successful, but the only success I have is if we have a sale, right? Or the only success some of your people watching is if they get a lead sold, or if they get a new client, or whatever. It needs to, gets put in the CRM, they develop the CRM. That's the next step. Yeah. So we're going to take that information and just do the next position in the cold calling. Hey, I had four people that, accepted me. Now we're just going to really call them, because I could use the other services that are out there, Lusha, or, all the different ones where I could click on and get their phone numbers and then pull and do a cold call for real. Hey, I messaged you on LinkedIn and I got your number from a friend or whatever, and then, then they go, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah. What do you need? But then you're going to have some real data of, how it works for us, I think.
Absolutely. No, I love that because what you're essentially using SalesRobot as then is just the icebreaker for that cold call, right? Because you're referencing that you reached out and there's a conversation and there's a real reason to reach out, right? The cold call, the most difficult part is that you don't have a real reason, you're just trying to sell that, right? There's some, like obviously that's why it's cold, right? So you're basically turning a cold call into a warm call with that prior LinkedIn interaction. And we've seen people do that with a lot of success, right? Because once you call somebody and you say, hey, I just messaged you on LinkedIn, much more likely to have a good conversation with you. Yeah. Awesome. So that is all the time we have. Love you for that. Don't be a robot. I'll talk to my designers to put that in, like make a banner or a good or something. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. If people want to find you and connect with you, where can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, or you can just SalesRobot me and send me something that says yo. And if you say yo, I'll give you a little discount on helping you. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome, Maharaj. So thank you so much and have a
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.